Morning, good afternoon, good evening, and I welcome you especially to today's masterclass. I'm sure we are all excited to be here because I am. All right. It's lovely to have everyone on the call. I think we have over 12 people and the numbers keep going up. Right. It's fantastic to have everyone on the call right now. My name is Jedi Daya, and I'm going to be the host for tonight's session. And in tonight's session, we're going to be having a very interesting conversation where we'd have an expert walk us through a practical step-by-step process of how we are going to be building pipelines for interacting with data. But I don't want to let the cat out of the bag. So I'm just going to, welcome us all specially, and then I would let my colleague to take things up from there. But before we get into all of that, I would like to get in touch with everyone. I would like to, touch base with everyone basically. Especially welcome you all to the session, and I would like to hear from you. If this is your very first time of joining a 10 Analytics masterclass, please can you just go on to type a one in the chat? All right. If this is your very first 10 Analytics masterclass, just go on to type a one in the chat. And if you've been in multiple masterclasses, all right, if you've been in a previous one before, just go on to type maybe a two or a three, depending on the number of masterclasses you've joined. All right, fantastic. I think I see a couple of responses already in the chat. I see someone says A1. All right, I'm guessing this is your very first masterclass ever with 10 Analytics. All right. That's amazing. That's amazing. So we have lots of people who are joining for the very first time and a couple of people, who have been in previous masterclass classes. It's lovely to have everyone on the call and it's lovely to be here. Now, as I mentioned before, today's session is focused on building pipelines. We've probably heard this before and we might be confused as to what exactly is this pipeline that Jedediah is talking about. My colleague is going to break all of that down, but I just quickly wanted to, get us settled in, welcome us especially into the session, and give us a brief introduction of who Tenalytics is and what to expect in the session today. Now, Tenalytics is a leading ed tech brand that's focused on lowering the entry barrier into the tech space. Lots of people today hear about these opportunities in the tech space, and they would actually like to get into this space, but they do not know how to navigate that journey. They do not know how to get started, what skills to learn, what tools to get themselves familiar with, or even how to navigate that entire journey. And that's why Analytics exists. And over the last 5 years, we've helped over 3,000 people across the world in transitioning into the tech space across tracks like data analytics, business analytics, data engineering, financial analytics, cybersecurity, and so much more. And here at Analytics, we're very intentional about your journey and about your experience. And that's why we've put together a team of experts, people who have worked with big brands like, Amazon, Apple, and the likes of that. And you'd be getting expert guidance as you navigate this journey with us here at Analytics. And as we go through the session today, I'm going to have my colleague with me who is going to be taking us through the session. I'll just give him a quick moment to introduce himself. Hello, Sadiq. So I'm just going to hand over to my colleague to introduce himself. We'll go through the introductions, and then Sadiq will be taking us through the session today. Now, Sadiq is a skilled data engineering professional with over 4 years of experience in data engineering, and he's very proficient at Python and building pipelines like ETL, ELT, and also working with databases, data warehouses, and cloud platforms like Azure, AWS, and GCP. In a quick moment, Sadiq is going to come up and he's going to take us through the session and he'll give us a little bit more detail about himself. And you might be wondering, who is this person in front of you that's speaking? My name is Jedidiah Osara. I'm a data scientist and machine learning engineer with over half a decade of experience in this space. I've worked with organizations across the US, UK, and Canada, working in industries like finance, healthcare, aviation, and even education as well. And I've trained over 1,000 people in this space. So I'll be bringing my wealth of experience in the field as well as in the classroom to help you navigate this journey. All right. Sadiq would be doing the same and we'll be having a very wonderful time in today's session. The session is going to be broken down into bits. We are first of all going to start with the practical aspect of our work today, which is building your first ETL data pipeline. Now, I'm just going to throw a question, right? Who knows the meaning of ETL? If you know what ETL means, go on to type that in the chat. If you know what ETL means, I'm sure some of us are rushing to ChatGPT already or Google, right? Well, if you don't, in this session, you'd finally know what ETL actually means. We'll be looking at what ETL is and would also be seeing how you can build an ETL pipeline, all right, using Python and SQL as a cloud engineer. Now, once Sadiq has taken us through all of this, we'll also be looking into the pathway to becoming a data engineer in order for you to be able to build ETL pipelines, which is what Sadiq is going to be talking to us about today. In order for you to be able to do that, there are a specific set of skills that you need to have. And so we'll be looking at what is the pathway for you to actually get these skills and become a data engineer. I know some of us are interested in data engineering, and I can say for a fact that a lot of us are interested in the money in it, right? I don't know about you, but that was one of the things that attracted me to the tech space. So yes, we'll be seeing what is that pathway that you can follow to get into the data engineering space and actually secure a job. Now, besides this, we'll talk about the growth opportunities. Right? We'll talk about the special internship program that you get to benefit from by being a part of Tenalytics. And we'll be seeing how you can take advantage of that. And if you stick around to the end of the session, I have a special offer for you. I have a special gift for those who stick around to the end of the session. So if you'd like to partake in this special gift, if you'd like to get this special gift, then I would advise that you stick around to the end of the session so that you take advantage of this. And in a quick moment, I'm going to be handing over to my colleague Sadiq, who is going to be taking us through the rest of the session. Please let's give Sadiq a warm welcome as he comes up to take on the session from here. All right.
Good.
Now, just a quick notice, just a quick information before Sadiq steps in. My colleagues are sharing certain links in the chat. The recording of this session and materials for this session are going to be made available, but it's only going to be made available to you if you fill this form, right? That's how we can reach out to you. So please make sure immediately you join the call, you click on the link and fill out that form. Thank you so much, everyone, and have a wonderful time as we go through this session with Sadiq. If you don't already have your notepad and pen, I would advise that you go grab it now. I have mine with me. All right. I have mine with me. I'm here ready to learn and ready to dive into this. All right. So yeah, Sadiq, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Jedediah. Thank you. And good morning, good afternoon, and good evening from wherever you're joining us. We are welcome to a Analytics Masterclass if you have not been as one previously. So I'm going to be sharing my screen now. And Jedediah has introduced me previously. My name is Sadiq Timlane. I'm a data engineer with over 4 years of experience. So I'm just going to be taking us through I wouldn't say too much of I wouldn't say too much, but it's more of like something within something that you can basically. So if you can see my screen, Jedediah, you can just quickly help me confirm that. If you can see my screen, please.
Yes, we can.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. So now, Jedediah has gone over what we are going to be doing today. We are going to be building an ETL pipeline. What is an ETL pipeline? An ETL pipeline is a system put in place to get data, to process this data, and then to store this data. Those are the three major steps that we are going to be dealing with as a data engineer. It's It's along the line it changes, yes, but this is off of you being a very, very diverse person that wants to take up more roles. As a data engineer, you have greater chance of becoming an AI engineer, becoming a machine learning engineer, because most of all these things are already something you already have base knowledge on, right? So now the business introduction for today is we are going to be working for an organization called Retail Edge. Now, Retail Edge is a mid-sized retail and distribution company. Uh, and they are sorry, operating across multiple regions, and they rely heavily on operational data generated from sales platform. So basically, what this organization is more of like they have diverse sources of information, and they want to have everything in a controlled environment. So that is what we are going to try and do for this organization. And you, as the data engineer that have been hired, this is now the problem statement. The organization has faced several core challenges, which
Hi,
is more of like
Sadiq.
fragmented data sources. Hi.
Could you put this on slideshow, please?
Okay, sorry about that. Can you see it better now?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. So the problem statements that we are facing now is the organization has faced several core challenges, which are fragmented data sources, performance bottlenecks, limited scalability, and delayed insights. So now, what there are so many things that an ETL break bridges to, right? So more of like what it gives organization chances to quicker decision making. And now you can see. So now, when we say fragmented data sources, operational data live across multiple systems with no unified structure. So they had data with, let's say, in a team of 5 to 10 people, everybody had different data. And in this case, if engineer B wants to work on all the data that is available, he has to be getting it from everybody, and that is so archaic, right? That's a very, very archaic way of doing things. And if one person's data is now corrupted, everybody's data is eventually gone because they came together and that is going to be off. And now there is no unified source, but this is what a data engineer is coming into the team to help this organization solve. And then with no unified structure leading to inconsistent reporting results between departments. So every department is just giving numbers off of what they think is correct, right? The numbers are not right, but they believe it is right. And that is because there is no unified source. And let's say when engineer A and engineer B works on a project together for a department, engineer A has his own side of data, engineer B has his side of data. If the department goes to meet engineer A for, oh, we want to make a report on the progress made on this data that you gathered for us. If you use engineer A data, you are going to get a different result from if you use engineer B data. But if there is a unified structure whereby the data analyst or data scientist in this case just goes into the database, picks the data, and does analysis, if you do the analysis a billion times, it's going to come out the same. But when you have multiple data with different people, if you do the analysis twice, you're going to have fragmented data, where it's not like this one is different and this one is different. But now, the next one that they face is performance bottlenecks. And the analysts are the ones that are suffering this because analysts frequently query the production system directly, slowing down operational applications and risking data integrity. So now, because the data analyst does not want to lose his or her job basically, and in this case he has to be giving reports, but in the stead of generating a report, there is a large bottleneck that is being caused, but the data analyst does not know about it, and that's because he does not care. What he's just doing is, I'm doing my job, right? But now that's going to be slowing down the system. Sometimes, let's say a user wants to retrieve information now, but because there is already performance bottleneck, we might have lost this user's data for a user that's already registered. And then when we are telling this user that this profile does not exist, this user automatically believes that, oh, this organization is a scam, right? So that is why there has to be a unified structure in place. And the next step is limited scalability. As the data volume increases, the spreadsheet-based analysis become unreliable and difficult to maintain. Now, when the organization is getting to the large scale, that's more of like they are now the big boys, right? when you are part of the big boys, you know that data is now very, very important to your organization. But because of this no unified source, engineer A has data, engineer B has data, engineer C has, everybody just has data. Everybody that is available in the organization has data. And then that is already a problem. But now, then last but not the least is the delayed insight, which is the manual extraction and transformation, cost reporting delays, and preventing timely business decisions. So now, one of the major things that ETL has eradicated in the space, in the data engineering space, is delayed insights. If you need information, and let's say you have, there will most likely be a pipeline, right? And when there's a pipeline, everybody knows that, oh, let's say after a sales cycle, and then we want to check, we want to create a report after a sales cycle. Okay, how well did we sell and stuff like that. In this case, the data analyst would not need to do too much issues because he is going to just go to his BI dashboard and then insert the necessary data, and then everything is done. So that is, these are the problem statement this organization faces currently. And now, what is the aim of this project? The primary aim of this project is to design and implement a robust data flow architecture that channels data from operational sources into a data analytical database optimized for reporting and analysis. And then we have some of the aims is establishing a centralized analytical database, designing an automated data pipeline, enabling faster dashboard creation, and creating a framework that supports future growth in real-time reporting. Then, I think I've gone so far. Yeah. So now this is the data dictionary, and these are the data sets that we're working with today. Like I said, we are working for a store. So you're going to be seeing the month, the store ID, day of the week, billing ID, bill amounts, number of units sold, sales value, selling price per unit, category, subcategory, subcategory, company or manufacturer, mother brand, and then the brand itself. So these are the tools that we're going to be using for today. So we are going to be writing few Python code. We are going to be using Azure Databricks, Azure Synapse, and Azure PostgreSQL. And then this is our architecture. This is our project architecture for the day. So we are going to be getting a CSV file, and then this CSV file is going to be sent into our raw staging area, which is going to be an Azure blob storage. And then, so inside our blob storage, we are going to be creating a container that has two layers of data, which is the raw data and the processed data. And then Databricks is now going to pick up this data from the uh, raw section, transform it, then send it back into the processed section. Once data arrives in the process section, Synapse is going to be triggered, and then it's going to now load data into our SQL database, right? So instead of Synapse, we can also use something called Data Factory. But if you join us here at Analytics, you are going to be getting the full insight and everything that you need to make you a well-equipped data engineer. And today, like I said, we are going to be using Azure primarily. So let's just get straight into what we have. And let me yep. So I'm leaving slideshow. So now I'm going to be moving into Azure, right? And then this is my Azure. Now, let me take us to the beginning. Now, I'm not going to be creating all of these resources from the scratch, right? But they are very, very easy to create. And let me just I'm going to be taking you through one creation, and that will be the Databricks one. But let's start off from the beginning, which is more like the data set that we are expecting. So this is called a storage account, which is what in the diagram is our Azure Blob Storage. And then I'm going to click on it. Then inside of it is where the data is going to be initially deposited. So that's more like the raw data, the unclean data, and then it's going to be stored here. Let me just quickly show you that. And then we are going to be creating just one resource. And this is just me taking you through how to create a resource on Microsoft Azure. So now this is the container we created. And then inside of this container, you are going to be seeing two folders. Oh no, yeah, two main folders that you should, which is the raw data and the cleaned data. Don't worry about this last one. This is the raw data and the cleaned data. And then we also have our database here. This is the database, and then this is the Synapse workspace. I'm going to be going into that as we move forward. So let's create the one. So we are going to be creating a database one. So we are going to be creating a Databricks resource. And now, what is Databricks? The Databricks is what we use to do data transformation, basically. So this is what's going to be picking the data from our raw from the raw data and then transform it and send it back into the we can automate our Databricks, right? So you just automate it that you will basically set a trigger or a schedule, and we know that every day by 12 a.m., new data would arrive inside of the raw storage, and then it's going to pick it up, run transformation on it, load it into the process data. So the whole workflow is just a very, very interesting workflow when you if you join us at analytics. We are going to be taking you through the nooks and crannies of becoming a well-seasoned data engineer. So I'm going to be calling this test workspace. So test workspace, and then we'll say tests managed. So we'll go next. So we are going to be deploying it on public IP. So what I'm just going to tell you that most of the time, the places you need to just pay most attention to is the basics. These other places, I would advise if you are not working on more of like a production layer, you just don't touch it. Especially if you're just trying to practice on your own, don't touch it. Just leave everything as is. Then we create our Azure workspace. So now after this is going to create, and this is where our data is going to be transformed. So the reason I'm creating this with you guys is just for you to see, oh, this is how the whole transformation setup comes about, right? It's going to spin up in a bit. So let's just wait. Now, as I was saying, the data, once it arrives in our raw storage, the Databricks is now we are going to be setting a schedule whereby the Databricks would be expecting new data inside of inside the raw directory, let's say every day by 12 a.m. And that's more of like, we should be done for that day sales cycle. Let's say we are for the store, right? The store should be closed because let's say give or take by 11 p.m. the store is closed. Then the collation of the data then is going to be sent by 12 p.m. 12 a.m. latest. So once it is sent, the database will pick it up, transform this data. If there are let's say no rows, let's say the data is basically dirty. But there's not something I'm going to let you know is not all data that you're going to be getting as a data engineer is going to be dirty, right? Because if you are a data engineer that loves his job and does not like too much stress, right? If you will make sure that you are part of the system builders. And when I say system builders, it's more of like the people that are collating this data that is going to be coming in. Now, this is something I really, really enjoy. If I'm if, if I'm working with you as a data engineer on your team, I will make sure I am there during those, let's say you are creating the store column, the product column, and most of this column must never be null. Do you understand? That's more of like if a customer does not buy a product, it does not go to the CSV file, which is more of like something that I'm going to get at the end of the day. Delete it. Do you understand? These data that are irrelevant should not make it into the final CSV that's coming to me. So I'm going to make sure that the data that's coming to me is 98% clean. Do you understand? And then, but I'm still going to just do few checks inside of my Databricks to say it is it is worthy enough for me to move forward, right? And then when this happens, everything is fine. Do you understand? And then after that, in this case now, there is something called the medallion architecture in data transformation, right? There's the bronze layer, the silver layer, and the gold layer. Now, the bronze layer is what we have been talking about, is where we dump the data. right? We dump the data into the bronze layer. Then after the bronze layer, once you have cleaned this data, standardize the columns, I'll say standardize the columns, remove the null values, fill the null values, just make sure this data is ready for usage. You are going to store it in the silver layer, right? Then you pick it up again from the silver layer to create every other thing that you want to create. Let's say the dimensions table and every other importance bit. You are now going to create that. Once you are done creating that, you now have your gold layer, and this gold layer is the layer that is ready for analytics, which is something you can load into your which is something you are now going to load into the database for analytics purposes. And let's say for the machine learning team, you also give them clean data that they can work with. They will pick the gold layer and then they can do anything with it. So let's launch our Databricks. So this is this should not take too much time, right? It's just the reason why the deployment takes a while, and that's because Databricks is quite heavy to run on Azure and every other platform. Databricks is a very, very it's something that made the data engineering job a lot easier, right? It made our job a lot easier, and that's because it just made things it basically it made things a lot easier. We had how will I put this? We had less less stress. Basically, that's how I see it. We had less stress in this case because as a data as a data engineer, once you are done here, a data analyst can come into Databricks and work with the data that you have trained. A data scientist can also come here and create machine learning models with it. So you can see multiple things. This is AI and ML. This is data engineering, and this is SQL. So we'll say a data analyst, dashboards, and the likes. So we can the three of us can come here, work together, and do anything we want to do, and then everything is going to work fine. Let me just let's create a compute, and this compute is what is going to be running our um, data transformation scripts. So let's quickly spin one up. So I'm going to make this a single node. Yep, everything is done. And then we create. So while that is creating, are other things that you need to put in place, and you have to put in place a connector, and this connector is what is going to give Databricks the chance to communicate with your it's going to give Databricks a chance to communicate with with your data with your storage account, which is your blob storage, like we said earlier. So now this is it over here. I'm going to go into it. So we just need one thing from here, and that is, let me put this over here. So we just need the resource ID. So I've copied the resource ID. And then I can now go back into my storage accounts, right? So now inside of my storage account, I have to go and give what do they call it? I have to give we have to grant permissions, right? We have to grant permissions so that this data can be accessed from Azure directly, because we don't want too much back and forth with our data. So I'm just going to wait. So this is our storage account. So we are going to come to access control. So for the access control, we are going to be granting, I think, 3 or 4 rows. So I'm just going to walk you through how each and every one of them work. So it's taking a while. Okay, so now we are here. So we are going to be adding role assignments. So is a all the rows you have to be they basically are contributor roles. So you are going to add blob storage. There should be um one for events. We are going to get there. We are going to get there, basically. That whole load time. Sorry about the next question. Can you still hear me, please?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so here now we are going to be searching for we're going to be searching for blob. So now we need to assign a contributor role under blob. So and once this is done, we'll be able to read write from from Azure into our blob storage over here. So that will just give us a quick walkthrough. So sorry.
Hi, everyone. I trust that we are having a wonderful time so far, and we are starting to understand, how um data pipelines work. I mean, we are getting introduced already to platforms like Databricks that allows us to build these pipelines and collaborate with other professionals like data scientists and data analysts work who are going to be working on different kinds of analysis. And we would be seeing how we can actually collaborate with these professionals on platforms like Data Bricks. Now, in a quick moment, Sadiq is going to come back and he's going to take us through the rest of the session today. I hope we are having a wonderful time. If all of this is already making sense and you're already finding this interesting and it's something you actually see yourself getting in. So I would like you to just go on to type A1 in the chat. I'm sure some of us are already getting some perspective as to how this flow works. Sadiq is already explaining to us how we retrieve data from multiple sources, and then it needs to be transformed. It needs to be structured in such a way that the data analyst can use it to build a dashboard, for example, and the data scientist can use it to develop a predictive model. And platforms like Databricks allow for this seamless collaboration. So the data engineer runs their pipelines, everything is stored, it's connected to Databricks, and the data analyst simply needs to go in there, get the data they need, go on with the analysis. The data scientist also goes in there, get the data they need, move on with the analysis. All right, Sadiq is going to be breaking things down in a lot more detail as he takes us through the case study that we are looking at this evening. I hope we are still here and I hope we are still paying attention. I hope we are still taking notes. And right about now, I would hand over to Sadiq as he will take us through the rest of the session. Hello, Sadiq.
Thank you very much for saving me over there. Just my network threw me out of the session. So sorry about that, guys. So I hope you guys can still see my screen. So moving on, like I said, we are going to be adding a contributor role. Now, if you search for blog, it's going to bring up everything related to blog. Sometimes it goes, sometimes. But let's just good. So now this is it. Storage blob data contributor. This is what you add to your this is what you add to your data bricks. Don't give it data owner, right? You give it contributor. And this gives it read write access, right? Read write and delete access. Not this gives full access to the storage container, and that is not what you want. So this is what we want. Then we'll move forward. We copied something the other time, and that is where this comes in. We use that as a activity to select that. I'm going to be selecting manage identity. What is manage identity? This is sort of like a an Azure resource group that has been created, right? But now this is what is now connecting it to our data store, which is so we're going to come here, access connector for data bricks. Then I'm going to paste. You know, we copied it the other time. So this is it over here. Then we select. Like I said, just don't add any other thing that is too complicated. Leave it as is. I think we need to, okay, it has added. So then we assign it. Now that that has been assigned, I can go back to my data bricks. I can come back to my data bricks. Our cluster is up and running. That's why you can see it is up and running. So I'm just going to come to catalog, and this is to add the external location for you to know that, oh, there is data in here that I need to take, right? So I'm going to come to catalog, and I'm going to add. So I'm going to, so there are two things you connect. You connect credentials and also the external locations. So the external location is the blob storage that we are getting our data from, and the credential is your managed that ID we used the other time. That is the connector that we need. So I'm going to be creating the credential. I'm going to create guest credential. Now, what we copied the other time is what we are going to paste here again. And then all is done. We save it. So now this is done. Then last but not least, before we start writing, before we write any bit of code, so I'm going to go back to catalogs, then add that of the external location. I'm going to be deleting an external location before we add a new external location. So this has to go, but before it goes, we are going to copy this. So we are going to be using this same, or let me see if we can edit this. We need to change the credentials because the credential does not match anymore. So I don't think we can edit. So we are going to be deleting it, but we are going to copy this and then we're deleting that. Now, last but not least, before we start the transformation side of things, then we'll also call this test data. What we copied the other time, we paste it here. So this is what we need. Now this has, let me cut it out for you to see it. Now this has how will I put it? It has a pattern that it has to do. There is container name and there's a storage account name. I want us to take into something. I showed us the name of the storage account, which is master, right? And then I showed us the name of the container, which is master data. So if I paste now, you are going to see, okay, the name of the container is master data, and the name of the storage account is master class, right? That is the way it is. And then the credential we are going to be using, like I said, is that of tests. And then we are going to be creating it. So for this, I'm just going to first create. We don't need this two at this junction. So we are still going to first create. This is what we need, the read and write, right? So I'm going to come back to my workspace. And then nothing is here. So I'm going to be importing a script. I'm going to be importing the script that we are going to be using for the transformation. So this script is more of like everything we need has been done. So this is it. Okay. Then we import. Now it has been imported. We just have to open it. So this is how you can share scripts. You can also share scripts amongst yourself in the organization. And that's why database is very, 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 very nice for everybody to come together and work on a single project, especially if it's a data project. So now this is, let this load up. I'm just going to be walking us through what each and every of the section of the code does, basically. So now this is the name of, this is where we are getting our data from, right? And if you recall, this looks like the same URL that we gave us as the external location. And the reason why that is like that is because this is where it is connected to get this information from. And now you can see master data, master class address. And now this is the name of the data sets we are working with, the one I showed you the other time. And then we have the schema, month, stock code, day, due date, and the likes. And now there's something I want us to notice about this schema. Everything is in capital letter, which is not good for column names, especially when, let's say, not everybody is going to be aware of it. And 90% of us would assume that you would have standardized it to lowercase, right? So here I was importing what we are going to be using for transformation. And then this is when I made all the columns lowercase. And then after that, there is, let me, there's something I forget I've not shown you yet, which is the database schema, the ER diagram of our database. So I'm going to be showing us that, but it will make sense when I show you. Everything's going to make a whole lot of sense. So now this is the manufacturer's table. Like the one table we had up here, the one table we had up here is what we have divided to get this four tables that we're going to be using. So there are going to be four tables, but this data set here is what we divided so that there will be a lot more with here analysis will take you through data transformation, whereby you will understand the ins of data transformation, first normal form, second normal form, and third normal form normalization. So everything has been done to these data sets. Now you see this is the manufacturer table. Let's go, and this is after manufacturer table. We are going to see the product table. So each and every one of this is PySpark, by the way. So that you will not be thinking. Some of us might have used, I think, pandas. Yes. So some of us would have used pandas. Let's say if you have had any experience with data analytics. So and then this is the date, the dimensions date table, and then we have the facts table, which is the sales table, the last table, last but not the least. So let me just give me a moment. So now this is all the tables that we have generated, and everything is now up and running, stored into the cleaned data section, right? Once this is done, last step to do is to write them into our into the cleaned data section. So you can see it here, right? You can see it here, cleaned data. So automatically, all the data that has been cleaned, once this runs, is going to be dropped. So now, like I said, I said we're going to schedule it. Now, this is the schedule button. If we want to add a schedule to it, and then we'll just schedule, let's say, we'll say add schedule, but I'm not going to be doing that, right? You can see, we can add a schedule every day, and then every day is going to be running this script to make sure the data that is being sent into our database is at its peak and it is the best. So I'm just going to cancel that. And now that is everything within Databricks. I'm going to be showing us the data, the data architecture, which is the ER diagram soon. But before that, let's just go back to the last bit of things. So we go into our resource group. So into our resource group again. So now this is our resource group where everything is taking place. And one thing I would also advise is, even if you want to try this by yourself, but you still need a little bit of knowledge, right, into how we do things in our job. So just say at analytics, everything is going to be up and running for you, and then you don't have it. It's going to come basically. We are going to take you step by step with projects that are going to open your mind. So now the next step is our synapse. So let me this is it over here. So I'm just going to open up Synapse basically. So I'm going to be refreshing this. I'm going to be opening up Synapse. So Synapse is where the data movement is happening and then sent into our database. I could have used, there's also something called a data factory. I could have used data factory for the data transfer, yes. But this is just what I just had to show you guys a lot more functionalities. And also you guys Synapse. Synapse is more like a website. So, but I did save the data into Synapse. I saved it into a database, and then from that database, a data analyst can pick that up, connect it to a Power BI dashboard, and then run queries with it. So I think while that is coming up, I should be able to show you our AR diagram. So let me just move my AR diagram here. So this is what we eventually cut down every of these columns into. So you can see the product table, you can see the dates, dimensions, the store fact table, and the manufacturer's table, and then how each one of them relates to each other. Product ID on here, manufacturer ID on here, the dates on here, and every other thing is just intertwined and connected, right? So that's how we go about it over here. So now, like I was saying, last but not least, which is this. Why is this taking a while? Okay, good. So now this is up and running. We also have our SQL database up and running. This is something that Azure has. Azure has a very fluid utility with VS Code. Why is that? Microsoft owns VS Code and Microsoft also owns Azure. So they have it's a very friendly ecosystem whereby you can host a Postgres database on Azure and then have the whole database management in your VS Code within the project that you are working on. If you open another project, this project is not going to be there. So now this is the database. You can see the tables are here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to drop. So I've sent data into these tables before. So I'm going to drop it so that you see it working live basically. So let me run this. So I've dropped all the necessary columns. And then we'll come back here. Now, is this is the final boss, right? I would say final boss, yes. So this is the final boss of everything we are going to be doing. We can add something called, the schedule we were going to add for Databricks, right? We can now add a trigger that's going to be sending this data. Once the data has been claimed, that's going to transfer the data into our SQL database is now where we do add a trigger. But I'm not going to be doing that to not waste too much time. So what I'm going to do is I want us to push this data into our data set. So let me just quickly query so that you wouldn't say, oh, there was data inside the data the tables before. So I'm running this. And now you can see this is an empty table. So that means that every other table is also empty. So what I do is to trigger this. Let me collapse this. Good. So I've triggered it. Just give it yes. So it is now everything is now you are going to be seeing these lines. Oh, this is giving to this is giving to this. Why is this? Without the manufacturer's table, there cannot be a product table. And without the product table, there can't be a date table. And without the date table, there can't be a fact table. And now, why is this? There's, if you recall from from the ER diagram that I showed you earlier, inside of the DIM products, there is a manufacturer ID. Now imagine if the product was behind manufacturer ID, that means that a manufacturer ID is not existing. Where did you get this data? Do you understand that kind of stuff? So the SQL database is going to reject it because there is a foreign key constraint, and you are going to be ingesting a foreign key that does not now relate to the main table. So if the manufacturer's table does not have data, it is not going to accept new data. Let's say we have 1,000 users, right? Then we now want to manually upload a user, and this user is user 1001. If I don't save this user into the users table, but I just insert him into the, let's say, others table. So let's say we are a retail organization, then it is not going to work for me. Why is this? Because user 1001 does not exist in our initial database. And if it eventually exists inside of the order, that means that there's going to be one thing that it means is that there's no foreign key constraints in place because it is meant to fail as orders. Because if the user does not exist, because the orders table would always reference the user's table that, oh, does user 1001 exist? If it does not exist, the order table is not going to access. So now we can see everything has run successfully. Let's now go back into our query. This query again, and then you will see the difference. of what we saw previously and what we are saying now. So you can see I limited it to 5. If you have in SQL, you can say select from the name of the table, and then limit is more of like I'm setting a threshold that I want just 5 rows, and now you can see these are the industries, and this is the manufacturers table that I'm just playing to you guys. Now, that is this is briefly how to create a database pipeline. And if you notice, there were minimal codes written, right? The only place you are going to be needing code is within Databricks. But you can see all these connections. This is more of like drag and drop. This means on success, on failure. And if let's say it fails, we can set up an alert. And what is this alert? It's going to be sending a message of, oh, the pipeline failed on this stage. And then we're going to be like, oh, the manufacturer's table has a problem or product table so this is just how everything works in it as a data engineer. So if Jedediah is going to be taking it up from here. So this is everything. The data is now in the database, and we have been able to successfully move a raw CSV file and converted it into a working database that can be used for analysis. And let me just show us that once. This is the old database system here. You can see the dates table, manufacturers table, products table, and the sales table. So that is everything. And thank you very much, guys, for sticking with me. I'm going to stop sharing now.
Thank you
So
so
hi,
much,
Jedediah.
Sadiq. Yeah, confirm you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you very much for this opportunity. So I hope you guys join us here at Analytics. We're going to take you through step by step how to create those resources. I know it would have been looking more of like
If I need to
magic to
use
you
this
guys,
phone.
but it is not magic. We are going to take you through
Right,
each
right, right.
and every one of these steps, and we are going to give you everything that you need from top to bottom. Um, Everything basically. So and we also teach with projects. So it's not more of like I'm just telling you do this. We are going to be actively teaching with projects that we're going to be working on, and everything is just going to work fine. So hi Jedediah.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sadiq. Hello, everyone. I hope we are having a wonderful time. Sadiq has been able to take us through how we can build ETL pipelines. All right. Now, there's a lot of more detail that goes into it. For example, the scripts that Sadiq imported was pre-written to save us time in this session. All right. So signing up on the program gives you access to learn how you can go about building, how you can go about writing such kind of scripts to run through your own ETL pipelines. All right. It's been awesome, listening to Sadiq. He's taken us through a wonderful conversation so far. And in a quick moment, I am going to be taking us through everything that we're going to be covering on the program. Now, Sadiq has been able to give us an understanding of what's one of the major activities that a data engineer goes through. Now, besides building ETL pipelines, there are other activities that a data engineer is actually involved in. In this session, Sadiq has exposed us to SQL, Python, Databricks, and Postgres databases. Right. We've also seen a bit of Azure. These are some of the fundamental, tools that a data engineer is expected to be very familiar with. As we go through the session, I'm going to be talking about how you can actually make this transition, all right? How you can get started on your own journey into the data engineering space, how you can secure a role as a data engineer, and how Analytics is here to help you navigate that journey. All right. So without any further ado, let's get into this. Now, for you to get into this space, there are specific requirements, there are specific skills, there are specific tools that you would need to be familiar with. What Analytics has done is we've conducted extensive research And our research was focused on one major objective. We want to look at what roles are currently in demand globally. All right. What roles specifically in the tech market are currently in demand globally? And what skills for these roles do recruiters actually need you to have? So we are identifying the roles, first of all, and then the skills that are required in these roles. Now, what we've done is we've conducted extensive research by looking at multiple job boards. All right. We looked at multiple job boards with the aim of checking out what roles are in demand globally. Now, while we did this research, we came up with 10 different tech tracks, all right? One of which is the data engineering track. So we looked at business analytics, data analytics, and all of these tracks. And the major one, which is the one we are discussing today, is the data engineering track. We looked at job boards like LinkedIn, Indeed, Glassdoor, Workopolis, Google Jobs, and so many other platforms. We script for all of these jobs, and then we analyzed which jobs we are constantly in demand. Amongst all of the jobs that we looked at, which ones were constantly in demand? Now, besides that, we also looked at an external source, right, to validate these findings that we were able to make. So we looked at the Future of Jobs report. And this is a report that's being published every single year by the World Economic Forum. And we saw that consistently these jobs top the chart amongst the list of jobs that are projected to continue to increase in demand over the next 5 years. So these jobs are currently in demand and are projected to continue to be in demand in the job market. So what that means for you is if you get into any one of these roles, including data engineering, which we just heard about this evening, you're guaranteed job security for the next decade, for the next 5-10 years. All right. Now, besides looking at these two sources, we also looked at a very important criteria, which I believe is the reason some of us are on this call this evening. We looked at regions. We conducted some regional analysis. We looked at the UK, for example, and we looked at what roles were eligible for skilled worker visa. We looked at the US and we looked for what jobs had the highest H-1B acceptance rate. And we looked at Canada and we looked at what jobs had provincial nominees, what jobs were ranking on these different boards, like AAIP, BC Tech Pilot, and so on and so forth. And we saw that these jobs and roles like data engineering still consistently top the chart. So this gives us confidence that these roles are in demand in the market and are projected to continue to be in demand. So if you are looking into data engineering and you are not sure if this is the track for you, you are not sure if AI is going to take your job, all right? This just gives you some confidence that yes, there are opportunities for me in this market and this role is projected to continuously be in demand. So I would continuously be in demand in the job market. Now, after doing all of this research, all right, I mentioned that we validated all of our research by looking at the Future of Jobs report from the World Economic Forum. And this is just a snapshot of the report. All right, you can see jobs that are projected to grow in demand over the next 5 years. And you see data engineering. You see all of these boxes that are checked. These are roles that you can actually work in with the skills you're going to be learning in data engineering. As a data engineer, you can work as a big data specialist. All right. When we are listening to the session, Sadiq made mention of things like Apache Spark, Airflow. Right. These are tools that allow you to work with big data. There are other tools that allow you to work with much more massive amount of data. And that's just one example of the role that you can apply into. as a data engineer, you can see that this is the top of the chart. These are jobs that are projected to increase in demand. They are projected to grow in demand over the next 5 years. Now, with all of this information, Tenalytics crafted a formula that can help you to transition into this space. Now, this is a formula that is proven to work. And we've crafted this to ensure that you are able to have a seamless transition from whatever track you're currently in into the data analytics, data science, data engineering, cybersecurity, whatever track, or specifically in this case, the data engineering track. And this formula is simple. It's a three-phased formula where first things first is for you to learn. And what are you learning? Your learning is focused on jobs that are in demand. And in our case, that's data engineering. Now, after you learn the skills, you need to learn how to write Python scripts. You need to learn how to, use Databricks. You need to learn how to write SQL code. All right. You need to learn all of this. You need to learn data engineering. Then you need to package everything that you have learned. So while you are learning, you need to put everything together so that when someone asks, are you a data engineer? You can say yes confidently and you have proof. There's tangible evidence to back that up. So you learn, then you package. And how do you package? You package by having a stellar CV. You package by having a LinkedIn profile that positions you as a data engineer. You package by building a portfolio of projects that showcase these skills that you have acquired. You package by going through interviews and actually landing a job and building, expertise and experience in this space. That is how you package yourself. You make yourself employable in the market. And finally, you go on to apply. So you have a stellar CV, you have a LinkedIn profile that portrays you as that tech expert, you have a portfolio that showcases all of the work that you have done in data engineering. All right. And then you have job references that can vouch for you when you're applying. And then you can go on to start applying to these roles. And for each role you are applying to, you tailor your CV to that specific role. So this is a formula that we have crafted here at Analytics. Learn, package, apply. And this formula is proven to work and help you to secure a job. And this is Gad, an example of someone who has applied this formula in the data engineering track here with us at Tenalytics. So this is just evidence that this formula works. Gad took on the data engineering program with us here at Tenalytics, and he packaged everything he learned. He tailored his CV for, data engineering positions. He got multiple interviews. He was prepared. He built a portfolio and so much more. And in January of 2025, he landed a job as a data warehouse and ETL developer with the NHS. This was less than 6 months after he completed his training with us at Analytics. Mind you, this job actually came with a visa sponsorship. So if this is something you are looking for, then this is one role that you really want to look into because there are opportunities for you in this space. Now, just like God, when he started out this journey, we guided him through applying that three-step formula: learn, package, apply. But there was something very crucial to this. Our focus wasn't just learning, packaging, and applying. Our focus was ensuring that whatever he was learning was in line with what the market needs, what the market demands. There are certain things that employers want to see before they hire you, especially in the tech space. Employers want to see two major things. The first is the skill. They need to see that you know data engineering. They need to see that you know Python. They need to see that you can use You can work with Databricks. You can work with, Apache Airflow. You can work with Linux. You can work with SQL database. You can build ETL pipelines. You need to have these skills. Number two is experience. You need to showcase that you have done this before. You need to show that I have experience. I have done this before, and there's evidence that I have done this before. A lot of times you see job openings and they're asking for 2 years of experience, 3 years of experience, 5 years of experience, whatever the case might be. In the tech space, this request is specifically to show that you have competence in this field, that you know this thing, you have done it before, and if I employ you to do it, you can do it for me. If you have 2 years of experience working as a data engineer at, Apple, for example, and you're trying to apply for a job as a data engineer at Amazon, if they see that 2 years of experience, what comes to their mind is you've worked for 2 years at Apple, working as a data engineer, you did not get fired, which means you know what you are doing, which means you were able to actually do the work that was expected of you. So if I hire you, I expect that you'll be able to deliver the same kind of value to me. So the experience is basically to show proof of competence in this space. These are the two things that recruiters want to see. So how does 10 Analytics help you to get these two things? How do you learn these things? All right. I explained two things here: skills, experience. So let's start with the skills. How do you learn these skills? How do you learn the skills? You learn in a project-based environment. There's a very popular mantra in the tech space. You learn by doing. And analytics is very intentional about that. We make sure that through every one of the classes that you go through, you are working on practical case studies. That way, we are not just discussing the theory, but we are actually looking at practical application of these tools, of these skills, and of these concepts. And Sadiq has just shown us one example of a practical application of ETL pipelines, how data flows from whatever source it's coming from into running through a script that transforms that data and then loads it into a database for other experts like the data analyst and data scientists to make use of. So you want to learn in a project-based environment. And Tenalytics is designed for exactly that. You'd be exposed to a flexible learning structure where you have self-paced learning materials. So you have bit-sized watch me do it videos that you get to watch at your own pace. So say, for example, you have 10 videos to go over. You can decide I would watch one video a day for each day until the next live class that you have. You can decide, oh, I would see 2 videos for each day. On Monday, I would see 2 videos. On Tuesday, I would see 2 videos. On Wednesday, and like that till you complete all 10 videos. You can as well decide the videos got released today. I would sit today, block out the next 3 hours, and go over all 10 videos. You have that flexibility when it comes to the self-paced watch me do it videos. Now, besides these self-paced watch me do it videos, we also have live instructor-led classes. These are live sessions that are happening on alternating weekends, just like the session we are having right now. Where you have an expert taking you through the session and you'll be working on a practical project just like we did this evening. You'll be getting expert guidance and be practically applying everything that you have learned from these Watch Me Do It videos will get applied in the classroom when we start working on projects. So you learn the basics from the Watch Me Do It videos, and then you come to class and work on real life projects that get added to your portfolio. Remember, we spoke a little bit about the importance of having that. And we are going to come back to that in a quick moment. So you learn the skills in a flexible learning environment and in a project-based environment. Now, besides learning these technical skills, there are also employability skills that are required for you to succeed in this space. Besides the core skills that you need as a data engineer, there are certain things that you need to do. There are certain things that you need to have in order to secure a job in the first place or even excel at that job. Some of these things include having a stellar CV, right? And this takes us to the second phase of the formula I described earlier, packaging. All right. You need to have a stellar CV that reflects you as a data engineer. I showed us Gad as an example who was able to apply that formula. Gad was a mechanical engineer, but was able to transition into the data engineering space. So just like Gad, if you'd like to make this transition as well, you would need a stellar CV that accurately presents you as a data engineer. And we at Analytics will be helping you to do that. Our team of experts will take your CV from you and work on it, revamp it, and make that available back to you. Now, regardless, when you are applying to jobs, you will still need to tailor your CV to the specific jobs that you're applying to. But one thing you get to enjoy at Analytics is that would actually train you and guide you on how to go about doing this. We also have the LinkedIn optimization session, which is focused on helping you to optimize your LinkedIn profile to accurately present you as a data engineer. Right now, your CV and LinkedIn might present, maybe mechanical engineer like Gad or, teacher. It could be nurse, whatever career path you are currently on. Would take you through how you can revamp your CV and optimize your LinkedIn profile for opportunities. There are lots of opportunities you get exposed to. Just by optimizing your LinkedIn profile, you actually are open to lots of opportunities, including job offers that would come your way without you even needing to apply. And I can testify to that. You do not even need to apply to jobs. Once you have these in place, opportunities would actually start coming your way. Now, beyond this, we'll train you on how to navigate the job market. This is something that is completely new to you. You do not understand what recruiters want to see. You do not understand how to navigate LinkedIn, how to go about making the right kind of connections, how to go about applying to jobs the right way. So we'll be taking you through how to navigate the job market, how to search for the right opportunities, how to position yourself for the best opportunities. And when you eventually land an interview, you can book an interview preparation session with us here at Analytics, where we prepare you for the interview. So we guide you through what kind of questions to expect during an interview and how to answer these questions correctly. With all of this, we are already positioning you for opportunities in the market by first of all revamping your CV, then optimizing your LinkedIn profile, helping you to understand how the tech market works and how you can navigate it, and then preparing you for interviews. When you eventually get a job and they are requesting for a reference or a recommendation letter, you can actually request for that from Tenalytics and we provide that to you. So this serves as some proof of competence. This serves as some evidence that you have done data engineering with Tenalytics before. And even after you have landed the job within the first, 30, 60 days when you are still getting onboarded, still getting your feet in, right? You can actually request for on-the-job support where we guide you, right, through how to navigate some of the responsibilities and tasks that you are assigned at work. We have weekly mentorship sessions every Thursday that is focused on helping you to pick up some more soft skills. We discuss things like how you can leverage AI in applying to jobs and even going as far as simulating interview sessions. That way, you are getting expert feedback on how to answer interview questions correctly and how to go about that, even before you actually have an interview to sit for. All of this is designed with intentionality to make sure that you are not just equipped with the technical skills, but the employability skills as well that are required to actually secure a job. Now, with all of this, we also have the Upwork optimization session. So in case you decide, I don't want to work for a company, I want to work freelance, where companies just hire me to build the pipeline, structure everything, I get paid, and I move my way. You would be learning how you can do that by leveraging Upwork, how you can leverage Upwork as a platform for freelance work. All of this is designed for your benefit here at Analytics. Now, we've spoken about one part of what recruiters want you to have, what recruiters want to see. The second part of what they want to see is experience. Besides having all the skills that we spoke about, they also need you to have experience. And just like I explained previously, we start helping you to build this experience right from the classroom. So we start building the experience right from the classroom by taking you through a project-based learning system, which is something I explained to us minutes ago. As you go through the live classes, you are working on practical projects that get added to your portfolio. And all of this can serve as proof of competence in data engineering. At the end of your training, you get to enjoy a 2-month period of internship with our partner organization, Amidari. During this time, you are working on more projects. At this point, you would have covered all of the foundations. You would have solidified your knowledge and skills in data engineering, and you'd actually be proceeding into working on more projects that can serve as proof of competence. This is very crucial to your transition journey. Lots of organizations, practically everyone, wants to see proof of competence. When they say I need 2 years of experience, what that communicates is they really need you to know this thing. They need you to have the skills and be able to execute on it. And this is how we help you to position yourself for these opportunities. This is Victor, for example, that went through the data science track and was able to secure a role. And this is Gad as well. This is Lemon's, portfolio. And there's so much more. We'll be training you on how you can build your portfolio, and we'll be taking you through all of the projects that you get to work on that get added to your portfolio. Now, on the data engineering track, this is everything that you're going to be learning. From introduction to data engineering, helping you to understand what exactly data engineering is, to looking into SQL. Sadiq took us through a practical workflow today, and we saw how SQL was used in that context. We also saw how Python was being used in that context, and this is something you'll be learning on the data engineering track. We'll take you through understanding Linux, would teach you how to build ETL and ELT pipelines. Today, we saw ETL, we saw an ETL pipeline. There's another form of that, which is called the ELT pipeline. And we are going to be seeing that on the data engineering program. We'll be looking at interactions with databases and also APIs for web scraping. How you can source for data from multiple platforms, and then you transform this data and load it into a central location that other data experts can retrieve this data from. We'll be looking into Apache Spark, Airflow, and looking into data pipelines for automation. We'll look at cloud platforms like GCP and Azure. In today's session, Sadiq showed us Azure. You'd actually be learning about GCP as well as Azure. We'll look into version control and how you can leverage AI tools like ChatGPT and GitHub Copilot as a data engineer. You see that everything is designed to position you for the opportunities that exist in the market. Now, here's the amazing part. This is structured in such a way that you have a flexible learning structure, which I explained before, and you have access to employability services, which we have also spoken about. You get to go through a training for a period of 6 months with Tenalytics, and then an internship for 2 months. And so at the end of this journey, you get to have Tenalytics as well as Amdari reflect on your CV at the end of your training. And this can serve as some level of job experience that is usually required. So you have a portfolio and you have two tech companies that are reflecting on your CV for some previous experience. Our classes are structured to happen on alternating weekends, like I explained, for the, instructor-led sessions. And we have this flexible for people across different time zones. We also have the self-paced learning system, which I explained to us, and you have access to once you get started on the program. We are very intentional about your experience, and that's why we have crafted the program in such a way that you are equipped with the right knowledge, the right skills, the right information, and guidance that you need to not just learn data engineering, but to actually secure a job as a data engineer, regardless of whatever your career goals are. Now, what we've done is actually to structure this in such a way that you have a unique opportunity to get started right now at a very limited cost. The next cohort we have is starting on the 7th of March, and you have a unique opportunity of being a part of this cohort. Now, what this means for you is you get started on your journey into data engineering today, enjoying all of these benefits that we have just discussed, as well as enjoying all of these benefits at a discounted amount. Right now, we have the program running at a 20% discount. What that means is you get to enjoy all of the benefits of the program at a discounted price. The full price for the program is $1,250. But as of today, we have a 20% discount, and this is only available for the first 20 people to secure their slots on the data engineering program. Right now, my colleagues are already sharing the link in the chat, or they're going to be sharing the link in the chat that you can actually click on to secure your slot. Lola is asking, hi, Jeddah, please, what did you call the CV? I said Stellar CV. Basically, a high quality CV. That's what it means. You have a very impressive CV. So like I said, the program costs $1,250. However, with the 20% discount that's currently running, you get to enjoy all these benefits of the program while only paying $1,000. But like I said, this is only available for the first 20 people who are enrolling for this track. Now, there's an added advantage to you who is on this call right now. On top of the 20% discounts that you have an opportunity to actually pay in installments. So all you need to get started today is to pay a minimal amount of $200. And that secures your slot for you in the next cohort. So all you need right now is a minimal amount of $200, which secures your slot for you for the data engineering program starting on the 7th of March. What I'm going to do right now is to take us to the link which my colleagues are sharing right now on the call, and then show us how we can navigate going on to secure our slot for the data engineering program. Now, for you to secure your slot, simply go on to click on the link which my colleagues are sharing, and that brings you onto this website. What you want to do next is to scroll down and locate the data engineering track or whichever other track you are interested in. Once you do so, you want to click on this button that says Buy Now. Now, once you click on the button, it takes you onto the next page that gives you a breakdown of the course curriculum to the course structure, everything you're going to be learning and how it is broken down. What you want to do on this page is to click on the button that says Enroll Now. This takes you on to the next page where you get to make payments. But before you get to this page, you'd be required to provide your details. What these details are required for is to create a profile for you on our learning management system. Explain to us that you have access to these self-paced videos, and these videos are hosted on our learning management system. So in order for you to have a profile on that system, you need to provide those details. And once you provide the details, it brings you onto this page. Now on this page, you get to select which payment plan you would like to go for. Now, just like I explained to us, we currently have a 20% discount running, but it's only available to the first 20 people. But there's more benefits you actually get to enjoy. In that we have 3 payment plans. The very first, which I explained earlier, is where you get to take advantage of the 20% discount, be amongst the first 20 people, take advantage of this 20% discount, make payment and secure your slot. So for you to get started, you do not even need to have the full $1,000. You only need $200 to secure your slot and get started on this journey. There's a different payment plan, which we like to call the Smart Choice. This gives you the advantage, the opportunity to pay in 2 installments and also gives you an additional discount. So on top of the 20% you get to save an extra $100. What that means is instead of paying $1,250, you end up paying $900, and that allows you to save over $350 that you could use for other things. And there's also an extra discount if you decide to pay the full price upfront. You get to save up to $400 on paying the full price upfront. So instead of paying $1,250, you actually enjoy a 32% discount at $850 paying right now to secure your slot for the data engineering track or for any other one of our tracks. Remember, this is only available to the first 20 people to get enrolled. And for you to enroll, simply select the payment plan you want to move further with. Like I said, you only need $200 to get started. So you can go on to select that payment plan and click on Apply Discount and move further to secure your slot. If you're paying in pounds, you can as well change the currency to pounds and you see what the breakdown looks like. The full price in pounds is £957. But instead of paying this amount, you can actually break it down to 5 installments where you'd only be paying £153.2 to secure your slot today. And then you can pay the subsequent Hi everyone, please confirm if you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
All right. Sorry, I got cut off for a minute. So just like I've explained the payment structure, I was simply breaking it down in pounds. So if you're paying in pounds, you still have the same advantage. If you're paying using the 5 months installments, all you don't need 600 and you don't need over 600 pounds to get started today. All you need is only £153 to get started today to secure your slot, and you are guaranteed to pay at this discounted amount. So what you want to do is to click on the payment plan you'd like to go for, and then go on to apply the discount and secure your slot for the next cohort starting on the 5th of March. My colleagues are already sharing the link in the chat, and a couple of these slots are already closing out. So if you'd really like to get started as soon as possible and secure your slot at this discounted amount, I'd encourage that you click on the link right now, and with only $200 or £153, you can actually go on to secure your slot for the next cohort starting on the 7th of March. I'm sure some of us are already excited and some of us are already securing our slots. If you haven't already, this is your cue to do that. If you haven't already secured your slot, this is your cue to do that. So I'd like to encourage everyone right now, in order for you to get started on this journey into the tech space, in order for you to secure your space in tech, in order for you to take advantage of the discount to enjoy the soft skills, right? Trainings on the technical skills, trainings on the employability skills and other services you enjoy, as well as a premium internship, which are all bundled into this package, guaranteeing you, access or training, premium training, knowledge, skills, and expertise in the data engineering space. I'd encourage that you click on the link right now and go on to secure your slot for the next cohort. I hope we are all on track with this. If you are already securing your slot for the program, I would like you to just go on to type DE in the chat.
Yeah, thank you very much, guys. So in the absence of Jedediah, so we'll be calling it a night here. Do have a great day ahead. See you. Please secure your payment. Thank you so much for joining. See you. Cheers and bye for now. Bye, everyone. Cheers, guys. See you in class.